Right there. There we go. Three, two, and one. Well, Mayor Wiza, welcome to Monday. Welcome to Monday after a long holiday weekend.
It is. I got to tell you, Michael, I think I need some time off after our time off. With
Mm-hmm.
Riverfront Rendezvous this weekend, I am absolutely exhausted. I can't even imagine how our crew feels that we're out there every day making sure everything ran smoothly. But it was another successful event.
Mm-hmm.
We had a great weekend. Thousands of people showed up. We got to see, well, you and I got to do the little karaoke bit.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah.
I'm sure there's a Insta floating around there somewhere, a snap somewhere. We'll
Something
make it
like
go
that.
viral.
You know, and that's one of the great things about and this is now the second year that I've been to Riverfront Rendezvous, actually. Michaela
No.
from WDEZ and I did a little introing couple last year, I should say. Uh,
Mhm.
and then for some odd reason, they decided they were going to send me down by myself this year. Apparently, I can be trusted like that. But then, of course, little do they know, I also know the mayor. So shenanigans still happen. But nonetheless, I mean, I don't know of another city that pulls off something like this for the 4th of July anywhere. I mean, everybody
Yeah.
their little celebrations, things like that, but the city is actually going through and lining up the entertainment and the acts and all this.
Hmm.
It goes. I mean, it's,
It
people
takes
love this thing.
it's a monumental effort by our staff, Director Dan Kramer and his team, Greg DeKroger, who lines up all of the entertainment, all of the volunteers, the sponsors. It wouldn't be possible without that gigantic team of help. And I heard this year that more people who attended the Stevens Point Riverfront Rendezvous Festival preferred that over the festival in Washington, D.C. and New York City. They chose Stevens Point, right?
Right.
They could have gone to New York, they could have gone to Vegas, but they didn't. They chose Stevens Point, and that I think speaks volumes to the caliber of entertainment and food and things that we had.
Absolutely. And what is when you start planning, Riverfront Rendezvous 2026, when do you start actually putting the schedule and the pieces in place? How
About
much
a month and a half ago.
month and a half ago? Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. So next year is a big one, right? It's
Yeah.
250 years for our country.
Of course.
So we have literally started planning already for the 2026 Riverfront Rendezvous. Now, the teams there, and I'm not really involved. I don't get any of the credit for that,
Mhm.
or maybe I should take the credit, even though I did none of the work, but get all the credit. No, the director Kramer and his team, they meet monthly to talk about the event. That's throughout the entire year, and then quarterly they have an even bigger planning meeting to make sure that everything is the way it's supposed to be. This was year 41
Mhm.
for Riverfront Rendezvous. So there's a blueprint that works pretty well. That they use the same thing over and over, where you line up the food vendors on this side, and you put the tent over here and the main stage and all that. So that part of it's pretty easy. Lining up the vendors, making sure the contracts are signed, liability insurance, inspections, all of these things go on behind the scenes that the general public doesn't know about necessarily. They just come to enjoy the weekend, and they certainly did. It was another spectacular weekend. I really commend not only the staff that put it together, but the attendees. Right, it wouldn't be possible if we didn't have people willing to come out there and support the vendors and support the live music. 20 different bands we had this year.
Mhm.
So that's pretty spectacular. And all of the entertainment there is free, which is completely unheard of in central Wisconsin. Yeah, there were carnival rides that cost some money and the food and drinks, of course. But without those sponsors, we wouldn't be able to have everything else be a free entertainment event.
Absolutely. So then you mentioned next year uh what is going to be bigger and better about it
Well,
next
I,
year
I would
for
be
200?
remiss
Yeah.
if I started letting some of those secrets slip, but I
Mhm.
can tell you that we are going to do a reenactment of the Boston Tea Party. And did you have a red coat, Michael?
No.
No, well, you're going to need to get a red coat.
Okay.
I don't want to give away any secrets, but we've got
Okay.
a plan just for you. in the public square, but you need a red coat to do it. I'm gonna,
Oh boy.
yeah, 2 weeks prior to Riverfront Rendezvous, I've got it set up where I'm going to ride on horseback to all of the neighboring communities, letting know Riverfront is coming, Riverfront is coming. Um, and we've got it's on the river, right? So you have
Sure.
access to both land and sea. So I got to figure out how many lanterns I'm going to bring. But no, next year is it's going to be bigger and better.
Sure.
Generally speaking, we're looking at enhancing the budget for the bands.
Okay.
So I don't know that we're going to get Garth Brooks or Bon Jovi,
Hmm.
but we're hoping to scale up the entertainment a little bit, as well as some of the offerings for other entertainment. This past year, we had a pedal tractor pull. Unfortunately, it was for 12 and under. I really tried hard to put on a disguise, but they said, no, we're on to you. You
Right.
can't ride one of these tractors. But we'll do something next year.
Sure. Yeah, I'll look forward to it. I'll be here for it. I think as the kids say, I'm in 100. Can I say that and sound cool?
Yeah, no, you got to turn your hat a little sideways,
Oh, okay.
off kilter a little bit. I can tell you that we are going to do a potential reenactment of Bunker Hill, but it
Okay.
will be Archie Bunker instead of, yeah. Oh, Archie.
Oh
They're
boy.
talking
Oh
about
boy.
Meathead. Yeah, no. Fun. But we
Yeah.
do have some other things going on in town.
Yeah,
If you want
yeah.
to talk about those a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. Tell us what's coming up this weekend in the more immediate future for everyone.
So we've got a lot of things going on. So you first of all, I believe you broke the story exclusively about City Hall moving out of the county city building
Hmm.
in an attempt to allow the county to remodel the current building into a courthouse that has the security measures that they really need. Well, we've been working on the land swap, which has already been approved. So council has already given the authority to move City Hall to what currently exists at 1039 Ellis. Some people may know it as the former Weber Tackle Building. Some people may know it as the former Create Portage County or maybe the old AIG Travel Guard. Regardless of the iteration, that building's been around for about 100 years, and we are working with architects right now to design the layout of how City Hall would fit into that. We have our first public meeting on Wednesday. We've been working on this for several weeks internally with the department heads, the people that actually do the job, talking about what they need and space things and that. So Wednesday the 9th at 5:30, we are going to have a presentation at 933 Michigan Avenue. It's going to be very high level, right? Adjacencies and things like that. We're not going to be talking about what color to paint the ceiling or what sort of carpet we're going to have, or even what the front of the building is going to look like. This is really blocking so we can see that, okay, this department needs 1,000 square feet and they need to be within 50 feet of this department. This one can be on the second floor because there's not as much public access, that sort of thing. So high level presentation. We're going to take that feedback and give it back to the developer or the architects. They're going to massage the layout as needed, and we're going to talk about it internally a little bit more. And then through August, we're going to have several meetings. August 4th, we'll have another presentation at the Plan Commission meeting. And then August 11th, the Finance Committee will vote on whether they want to use the existing building and remodel it, or maybe it's more cost effective or beneficial at least to tear down the existing building and build a brand new one. We don't know what any of that looks like yet, but we will by August, and hopefully council will make a final decision on building new or remodeling, and a timeline on what that's going to look like at our August 18th meeting. So 4 different meetings that we want you to be aware of and keep up with. If you recall, last month we talked about Door to Dreams and their project up on Maria Drive.
Hmm.
That's going ahead tomorrow night. They have it's really like a public celebration, kind of commemorating the fact that hey, we've got everything in order now, and signing the developers agreement was kind of a big milestone. So we've got that going on. Saturday, the Giving Farm, which is a project that we worked with Golden Sands Resource Conservation and Development. Jennifer Glad there's some city land up on Georgia Street North that hadn't been used for anything. In a partnership with Golden Sands RC&D in the city, they have turned that into a garden where they get volunteers to work on this, and then that provides food to those who may be a little food insecure. And that's coming up on Saturday. I think that starts about 12:30. That's up on the 100 block of North Georgia Street. So if
Hmm.
you go there, we'd love to see you, and you can see what our community garden project kind of looks like. Those are the biggies.
Yeah, absolutely. And you spoke about the new city hall in there, and
Mhm.
just how high level these discussions are at right now. And I'm guessing that's on purpose because you're putting yourself in a pretty exclusive class of mayor right now. Not every mayor in America is going to get to plan out what their city hall looks like, or I
That's
guess get a
true.
chance to redesign. So you want to make
Yeah.
sure you get this right in the first time. And that's why you're starting with some of these high level discussions saying,
Absolutely.
where do all these puzzle pieces need to fit in place? And can they fit in this existing building, or do we need to do some reworking?
Right, right. And we have a little bit of flexibility with the building because we can also add on to it. We've got more than enough square footage, but do those adjacencies work? And that's why we started internally, right? Nobody is better equipped to talk about how City Hall should function than those who actually do the work. The second priority would be those we serve, all of the citizens that come in here to pay their taxes, to vote, to get a permit. Unfortunately, sometimes to pay a fine, whatever that happens to be. That's the second one. So we want to make sure that the public is involved, but we want to make sure that our users, the people that work here, basically live here every day, get their needs met as far as space requirements and workstations and break rooms, special activity rooms for our fit program, things like that, that we don't necessarily have right now. So having those people be at the ground level, the foundational planning phase, is very important. But it's also important that the citizens who we serve,
Mm-hmm.
and the alderpersons who also work here temporarily, part-time, get their say at it too. This is a community project, probably the only one of its kind in our generation. So we want to make sure, of course, that we do it right.
Yeah. And as far as paying for it now, obviously, again, we mentioned high level discussions. No checks have been written yet. No architects are on the clock, at least not yet.
The architects actually are on the clock. We've got
Oh,
about
they
a
are.
$70,000 budget
Okay.
for the preliminary design work.
Okay. So the architects are somewhat on the clock right now.
Right.
Uh, do you know yet just exactly what this is going to cost and how you're going to pay for it, if indeed a few $1 million of remodeling or even new construction is needed on this?
So we've kind of got a budget in mind, and the architects think they can work with both the remodel and the build new. Generally speaking, from contractors, and I contacted several of them, you're looking at about $250 per square foot to remodel versus $400 to $500 a square foot to build new. And then, of course, you have demolition costs involved with that too. So I really think that the more cost efficient option is going to be a remodel, but we also need to make sure it functions correctly, right? We don't want to remodel just because it's cheaper and then
Hmm.
5 years down the road realize that we made a mistake and we should have probably just started over from scratch to make things work the way they should. Ballparking it right now, you're looking between 10 and $15 million.
Hmm.
And of course, we borrow for that and spread that out over 20 years. So it's not terribly impactful for the tax rate, but it is. The option, however, for the alternative would be that the county doesn't use this building, doesn't have the ability to remodel and save money, and they build a new courthouse to the tune of 85 million dollars, as opposed to a remodel cost of somewhere around 30 million.
Hmm.
So overall, by using buildings that already exist, that are already off the taxes, and that will still function as efficiently as we need to, we are saving the taxpayers of Portage County, both the city and the county, neighborhood of $50 million over the life of those two buildings.
We're going to go ahead and save that and roll it back year after year after year, because I don't know that there's a government entity that has ever been able to say something like that.
Yeah.
That
Well, you
we
can use
saved
that.
the taxpayers that much money, because again, yeah, that's a shared
Yeah,
taxpayer pool right
it
there.
is. As a city taxpayer, I pay city tax and I pay county tax.
Hmm.
If I live outside the city in the town of Hull, for example, I pay tax to the town of Hull and to the county, So we have four taxing entities in the city, five if you count the Lake District. We have
Hmm.
the school district, we have Mid-State Technical College,
Hmm.
Stevens Point, and Portage County. Those are our four taxing districts, and they each tax based on their needs. So it's really critical that we try and be good stewards of the money that we do tax.
Hmm.
And we try and be as diligent as we can, even with the rising costs of absolutely everything. It's putting a really significant burden on every single person. But we also need to make sure that our services are functioning correctly
Hmm.
and keeping taxes to a minimum because we certainly don't want to start taxing people out of their homes. Seniors or people on fixed incomes or limited incomes, home ownership. I mean, when you're talking $3,000, $3,500 a year just in property tax,
Hmm.
I mean that's you're putting $300 a month, $300 a month away for that. So we want to make sure that we are good stewards of that tax money and don't spend what we don't need to spend, but make sure all the services that people have come to expect are still covered in an efficient manner.
Absolutely. Well, Mayor Wiza, we always appreciate the time. We'll look forward to seeing where this goes over
So I
the.
got to leave you with one more thing, Michael.
What's that?
June 3rd,
Okay.
I'm sorry, July 3rd, last
Yes.
Thursday,
Thursday. Yeah.
um, was one day after halfway through 2025.
Hmm.
So we are more than halfway through 2025, which
Indeed.
now makes us officially closer to the year 2050 than we are to 2020 or 2000 rather. Think about that. Closer to 2050. It's insane, right?
Insane.
Well, you
Insane.
have a wonderful month, Michael. It's great talking to you as always.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You as well.